and it's the equivalent of cookies. So that is just the application of their technology on your data. That's it.
The picture was sent through not Messenger, but just through normal text message.
All right, guys, the recording started. So,
Okay.
so everyone's going, what the hell are they talking about? It sounds really exciting. And as a little bit Sally was saying that she mentioned the word Adidas, was it, or runners
No,
or
it
something?
didn't. It was a shoe. I had a picture of a shoe sent to me as a text message. And I said, don't know that brand, didn't even mention the brand. Next thing you know, the brand of the shoe is coming through Facebook feed. Wasn't even a message through Messenger. It was just private message on my text, and it came through on Facebook. It's frightening.
So I don't know if we've got privacy anymore.
Big
I
brother.
know in Australia they love to say all about the Privacy Act and how great it is. Can I just ask, can you hear me okay, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I haven't. It's still silly. But anyway, so today what we're going to talk about, so I just told Sally this, but Bitcoin had a major spike overnight and it went up 10%. Whoa. So there's a lot of people. I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier on, whose friend is all of a sudden in the money again because Bitcoin's starting to have a rally. And it's not just 10% overnight, it's gone up quite a lot quite quickly. So I thought today what we'll do is we'll have a little discussion about cryptocurrencies. We've brought Brendan back because, well, Brendan's going to give us a very different point of view, which I'm really looking forward to hearing because in a way I agree with him. However, there's a lot of people out there that love to play cryptocurrencies. It's one of those get-rich schemes that if you get the right currency, you could see $1 million in your, or a value of $1 million overnight, just to have it disappear the next day. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Brendan. We've got Alison back. We haven't seen Alison for a while. It's so good to have you back, Ellie.
Thank you, Paul. It's lovely to be here. I'm not sure I can add much to the conversation, but I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we'll see. I'm sure you will. You've always got this amazing insights. And of course, we have Sally. Hi, Sally.
Hiya.
And Brendan, welcome back.
That's good to be here. Good to see everybody.
So let me just start the discussion by asking, who has actually ever bought any cryptocurrency at all? So I'll put my hand up. I have.
I'm not sure. I actually, a friend of mine started a business with cryptocurrency. And so because, you know, me being me, I like to support people. So I bought in to, I think, a package, for want of a better word. At the time, I didn't actually have any money to invest in the cryptocurrency, but of course, I just bought into a particular level of their investing kind of program, and that's all I've done in the meantime. So I haven't really bought into any, and I because I don't know anything much about finance, I definitely don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I was actually looking for a done for you kind of package. And that's what they were offering. And because I know him, I like him, I trust him, I kind of signed up. But then I haven't done anything with it because in the meantime, I've spent my money on other things.
So you don't know what's happened with that crypto. Brendan, what did you purchase? Which crypto did you purchase?
Look, I'm not terribly different to Alison. I didn't buy the standard. It was a couple of years ago when a contact was promoting an Australian coin, which was, it's called Coin, Q-O-I-N. And it was to, so I think most of you will probably know the setup. It cost me nothing. It hasn't done anything. I'm sitting on technically a few $100s worth. There's no market there. I was never going to buy the major coins because, you know, I had some exposure to it in 2018, the first time the spikes took off. And after I got over the, oh shit, this is something anyone can make a lot of money on, when I sat back and took the emotion out of it, I went, this is not something to touch with a barge pole. And I still hold to that belief, despite the fact that many people have lost millions and billions and others have made millions and billions.
Yeah, so if you have a look at the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett, he doesn't touch crypto. And
Yeah.
somebody asked him, why don't you invest in crypto? He says, I don't invest in anything I don't understand. Right? So, so I know I've got coin. I know Sally and Ali have coin. So we all probably got it through Aaron, our good friend Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you pardon me saying,
well,
jumping in, Paul, Alison's point is very good when you trust someone. But Aaron, who is an absolutely decent person as far as I'm concerned, it's not the fact that you trust her or not. If she's only a cog in the wheel, as we all are, it doesn't matter whether you trust someone or not. It's trying to understand the bigger picture, and that's hard.
Yeah, look, I know that I've done a bit of coin mining and things like that, but my total exposure to crypto, it'll be lucky if it's $300. So it's not a lot of money. Now, Sally, which coin did you purchase? Are you also with coin?
I did coin, but long story short, this is a few years ago, not that many years ago. My friend said, Sal, you got to dabble in this. You've got to give it a go. And so and ahed. So long story short, I put in $2,000. This is a few years ago now, but not that long ago. $2,000 very quickly turned into $15,000, which very quickly I put in a little bit more and it just kept growing. Then it turned into $30,000 and then it turned into $150,000. Now I did put in a bit along the way, but I took that out. However, you still get taxed on that bloody shit if you take it out in the first year. So I kind of went a bit backwards. But then the place got hacked that I was in. So I was in CoinSpot, which is it's pretty common group, and they do a lot of marketing with footballers and stuff. So CoinSpot's sort of can you say a reputable sort of investment place, so to speak? No, because there's nothing guaranteed, right?
You can call it popular.
Yeah. So then one of the people that we all know said, Sal, you got to get into this other group, put your money in here. And I go, no, look, I feel comfortable enough that, like with CoinSpot, I can watch it go up and down and whatever. And I could drive it, like if I wanted to take money out or put some in, or I could shift coins. So I had a whole bucket load of coins, and it was quite fun just watching, but seeing some days, boom, straight up or straight down. And years ago, I used to work in second board markets and share market, and that was always very volatile. So I was used to volatility. But then I did take it out of this CoinSpot once again through someone who used to sort of think, know and trust, whatever, and said, no, you've got to invest in here. So I did. And then they got hacked by someone in, I don't know, India, I think, and took everybody. So they've taken millions and millions. So back to nothing. So if you go in with the intention of what you put in, you'll never get back, I think you're okay if you want to muck around with it. But I did learn about the volatility of these markets and how it's there's no protection there whatsoever. And so I got burnt, but didn't, so to speak. Sort of, I played with it, but came out the same I went in, really, except for the tax aspect. That was just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I wonder how many people actually declare their winnings on tax.
Oh, they're onto it now. They're quite onto it.
Are they? Oh, okay. Well, I've got nothing to worry about because, or do I? No, I don't, because my investing in crypto was I put $100 or $200 into one of these mining where you go mine Bitcoin, and you buy packages for $40 US each. And so I changed my $100 into US dollars, went and bought a package, and it's earning 2% per week or something like that. So it's doing very well. And then bought another package and watched that go. And then all of a sudden, kind of like you, Sally, or I got hacked, or I think Bitcoin went down or something crazy happened. And all of a sudden it was exposed for what it was. It was a scam, but I had $40 left, 40 Bitcoin dollars. And this was back in 2016 or something. And so I just left it and just sat in there and did nothing. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, a friend of mine spoke about what Ali's mentioned in the chat. She went into something called Cash FX. And he said, oh, Paul, you've got to go into this. It's going to be a great, yes, I know. It's going to be a great investment. And I said, well, I don't want to go into that. I think it's a scam. It's going to be a scam. But I had $300. My $40 had grown to $300. I went, what am I going to do with this Bitcoin? I've got nothing else to do, so I just give it a go. So I went into the Cash FX, and I might take the story to Ali next. But what happened to Cash FX? What's your experience with Cash FX, Alison?
Well, mine is a little sadder because you've got to invest US dollars, and then they use crypto as an interface, and it's really bloody complicated. And what I'm really annoyed about is it was actually someone I really trusted, and she pushed me into it. And she, so their whole family was in it. So her son first got in, then she got in, and then her husband got in after her. And so I just put in the $300 US, which is about 500 at the time, just for me. And so I was kind of, and look, responsibility is mine because I actually wasn't managing it. And I was kind of, working with her, but because she knew what was happening. So I kind of felt she was keeping me in the loop. And as I said, the responsibility is mine because it's my money. So that's on me. Anyway, so, sorry, just look at the chat. Yeah, so it seemed to be sort of growing. And then she encouraged me to, when it got to a certain level, because of course she used to monitor it all the time because everybody that she brought in is a pyramid scheme, right? Everybody that she brought in, she actually got extra money for. So she'd keep an eye on it, and she'd look after her people down the line to sort of continue to build them up so that she'd keep going up the tree. And of course, because so I think her husband was above her and then her son or whatever. So it was all very much in the family. They're all kind of supporting each other at everybody else's expense. So anyway, so I think I then upgraded, and I think what happened was because I had enough, it had actually grown of its own accord to upgrade. But I think because there was a bit of a fluctuation in the exchange, and I can't remember whether it was the exchange or either the Bitcoin at the time or whatever, because they use Bitcoin as an interface or crypto as an interface, that I then needed extra money. So she said, oh, that's okay, I'll put it in for you. And because I'm a goose, I think everybody's like me, I thought, that's really nice of her that she was using her money, to help me sort of get over. Turned out I had to pay her back, which is fair enough. Anyway, so that was me with my money of, more than 500 Aussie dollars. So anyway, so that was kind of growing. And then I actually had some of my daughter's money, and I thought, okay, mine is going quite well. So then I put some of Katie's, if she's not listening, I put some of Katie's money in there. And again, that was, $300 US, which turned out to be 500 more or less. And the same palaver with the crypto being the interface and stuff. Anyway, long story short, I've just given away the fact that I'm never going to see that money, and it's on me. But what really sticks in my throat is that this woman who I trusted was not just using me, but other people as well to kind of build herself up. And the thing is, she got back her original amount of money, right? So she didn't lose her stake. And I'm still part of their WhatsApp group. There's Cash FX Australia WhatsApp group, and there are people in there who've been moaning and groaning about not getting their money back and all this sort of stuff. And I just think it's just so wrong that they are just virtually fleecing people who are going in good faith based on the relationship. And it's just very disheartening. So that was me with Cash FX. So I've now just given the fact away that I'm never going to get that money, and it's on me. But the difference from what Brendan was saying, so the coin, and I get that's Erin was just a cog in the wheel, and coin was sort of bigger than her. But the friend I went into, it was his business that he and his partner had kind of started as, I'm using the word brokerage because I don't necessarily understand the term. So they were using a brokerage, which was their business, and they were then doing the investing with sort of Bitcoin, whatever the cryptos are out there, on your behalf. So he is, to my mind, that's different from coin because he's got his own business and he's using crypto directly, whereas Aaron is part of the coin cog in the wheel. Anyway, so that's what I had. I told you didn't have much to offer as such.
Yeah, so just to put that into perspective, the coin that all of us got, we didn't pay anything for it.
No.
It was all for free. So we can't complain when something's given to us and No, it sounds great, and it's worth nothing, but we didn't pay anything for it.
However, I lost money on that because I had a self-love course for $100 that somebody else we all know in that same group used their coin to buy my self-love course. So while I didn't spend any money buying coin, I ended up not getting paid in dollars because they used coin. And that was again on me because I accepted it.
Again, just with regards to coin, that used to be barter card, where Brendan knows what barter card is. It's basically when you swap services, it's a way so that you don't have to pay tax and things like that. And that's just how it morphed in barter card, went into coin. So it was their way of trying to swap those services and all of that. So Brendan, you have a big aversion to crypto. Please tell us what this aversion is.
Okay. It comes down to the classic old two words, what and why. Okay, what is crypto? And to use the generic, and why is there such fuss and what's happening at the moment? What's causing all of that? So the first thing is, when you actually dig into it, there is nothing behind crypto, nothing. I know Satoshi Naka, whatever his face is, who wrote the paper on Bitcoin, did have the right idea that what you want to do is protect your wealth and try and avoid the impact of government's regulation, inflation, all the rest of it. A utopian type ideal, but the actual application of that has not worked in any fashion whatsoever. So most crypto supporters will actually say, hang on a second, the Australian dollar, the US dollar is just worth nothing. It's a made up piece of paper, currency, electronics, etc. But that is completely untrue. An Australian dollar is a micro stake in the Australian economy. That's why the value of it goes up when the economy does well and more people are employed and money comes into the country, and it goes down when the opposite happens. Now, the actual relationship is a little bit indirect, because $1, yeah, you can burn it, throw it away, destroy it, etc. But the whole economy works around what we have called the Australian dollar. Crypto reflects nothing, precisely zero. So there is, and I call it digital tulips. If anybody has, in the 90s, I was in the treasury markets, interest rate currencies, etc. So I'm way out of date, but I do understand the basics here. And if you go back a bunch of years, a lot of people know the story of tulips in the Netherlands in the 17th century. And to make that very quick, the Dutch, who were the hardest headed, most commercial, most practical people on the face of the earth, completely lost the run of themselves and were trading tulips between each other to the value of millions of dollars today. And the tulips, one night, someone woke up and said, hey, my tulip is actually withering. And the market fell apart instantly because the tulips were worth nothing intrinsically, economically. Equally, while the theory is that you can exchange any good or service using crypto, that already exists. It's called the Australian dollar, the US dollar, the Korean won, and everything else in between. That exists. The purpose, to my mind, of crypto, and this gets back to why it's actually all over the place, is what we've been talking about. It ultimately is a quasi-legal Ponzi scheme. If you look into it, 0.01% of Bitcoin holders dominate trading. Okay? You have to get your head around that. So when you talk about mad worldwide control, conspiracies, etc., this actually is one. Now, it's not driven by government or tinfoil hats or Bill Gates or vaccinations. It's actually, you've got a bunch of people who understand that if you market anything to people and give them an offer that they feel they can't refuse, they'll put in a small amount of money. And if you've got hundreds of millions of people around the world buying $100 each, you can do that maths yourself. And it flows directly to the people who actually control the market. Bitcoin is the number one obvious one. But we're all talking here, and we're talking about this, we're talking about that, and we're talking about whether it's good or bad. The fact is that none of the four of us, and definitely not me, can see the whole process, algorithm, equation, value, or reason for crypto. We're all speculating as to why crypto is a thing. And if crypto went away tomorrow, there would be losses among the individual holders, but there would be no impact on any trade around the world other than the people who have put money into it losing their wealth. And if you look at the what's published about crypto, who loses? It's generally the punter, the person who's put in $100, $1,000, maybe $100,000, but it is not the guy who's sitting in, and it could be sitting in Dublin, Ireland, Berlin, Germany, or Canberra. It could be any of those guys. That what they have done is they've taken it, and most of them, from what I can glean, and I'm absolutely saying this with a huge grain of salt, is they take out their Australian dollars, their US dollars, and they convert it into real money. Now, okay, say just two more things and then I shut up. The next reason that crypto is bollocks, there, I've declared, I've said what I mean, is because the Chinese government a couple of years ago just said, no, it's not legal, end of. So any government in any jurisdiction can stop it instantly, wipe it out. So if you take Australia, if the federal government said there is no crypto trade anymore, that is the exact same as coming off the gold standard, which happened, quite a while ago now, and I'm not going to go into that, but they have the power to do that. And then the final point I'll make is that we're all familiar with international trade in gold, currencies, and everything else that works in a general sense. You can buy and sell US dollars, you can buy and sell gold, you can buy and sell commodities, stocks, bonds, and all of the rest of it. But all of those trades are regulated. Now, they're not regulated because big bad brother government across the world said, well, we're going to do this because we want to control it. They're regulated directly because of the Great Depression and the Wall Street crash in 1929, when it became obvious that the average investor was being completely scammed. So after that happened, it became obvious to the US government that they needed to put regulators in place. And the guy that they put in place was President John F. Kennedy's father, Joseph Kennedy. And he was effectively a criminal, a gangster, a mafia guy. And the reason they put him in charge to set up the Securities and Exchange Commission is because he knew the scams. And the SEC has regulated the US partially well and partially not so well for the best part of 100 years, because regulation is essential. Because you will always have scammers and you will always have people who want to actually make money. So you go back to the old cliche, if something seems too good to be true, generally it is.
I love the way you've given us a great history lesson on the SEC and all that. Fascinating and amazing. The knowledge you have is incredible. But there's a lot of people that will have some Bitcoin on their phone and coin, I think it's Coinbase or CoinSpot or whatever, and they actually use their phones to purchase whatever they want now. I know a friend of mine said, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. I said, sure. They pulled out his phone and said, look, this is my Bitcoin, and he paid for the coffee with Bitcoin. So, yeah, it's actually happening now. It's been happening for quite a while. So it's a very interesting thing. So, Sally. Yep, you're on mute.
Got it. I'd just like to follow on from Brendan's thing, and I'll just put it in very simple layman's terms. If it looks like shit, smells like shit, it is shit. So if it looks dodgy, smells dodgy, all that sort of stuff, it is. Like, when you can just see a scam and you just think, oh, I'm not sure. And like Al was mentioning before, I knew about the FX thing and had been approached with the Cash FX, and it was through people that you sort of trust. And I think that's my downfall, is listening to friends who say, here, give this a go, because it's more than just something that in your head you go, it looks dodgy, but then they go, oh, no, give it a go. So that's where my downfall is. I get talked into stuff by people. But so I've shared my experience with it and got burnt. So, you know, let's wait and see what actually happens. But another good, well, I don't know if you call it a good story. So my friend's a gardener and works in some nice suburbs. And there's, you know, I don't know if you know Hawthorne, but it has very big properties down here, like huge mansions and things. And he works in that street in a mansion. Anyway, the neighbours were all abuzz because the house next door had just been sold and they didn't know how much it had gone for, and it was a big mansion. It ends up it was sold for 17 million. And the dude who bought it had been living in Singapore, and he was a crypto dude, and he bought the place, and I think he's Eastern European, but he came out here and studied at Swinburne or something and did his degree and sort of went over to Singapore and made a shit ton of money and bought this property. So, of course, it was a property that he doesn't live in. And so the garden was going array and all the neighbours were getting crazy. Anyway, not long down the track, so that's a couple of months. And then a couple of months later, the house next door to that came up and was sold for 44 million. The same dude has bought it. I don't even think he's 40. So much money, doesn't live in it. And now apparently he has full-time security guards to protect the place that he doesn't even live in. So, you know, there's people that have made a shit ton of money, and in some ways it's just money, just getting rid of this money and doing nothing with it. And I know a lot of the Chinese do that around here in Toorak and these areas, just to get their money out and just park it somewhere. And, you know, these big mansions that aren't even lived in. So there's a lot of people with a lot of money that have been made out of crypto in particular. But, whoa, there's the lucky ones and then there's the unlucky ones, right? We were talking about that earlier on. So that's just my sort of input around crypto. It's dodgy. Oh, not dodgy, it's volatile, shall we say. And
It's dodgy.
It is dodgy. I was going to say, but dodgy and volatile. That probably sums it up. Yeah, dodgy and volatile. So with that, I'm back to you, Paul.
Right. So, look, it's come to the top of the half hour. So it's been a very interesting discussion. I think the general consensus is it's dodgy. Don't get into crypto unless you want to have a bit of fun, and it's, I suppose, a little similar to gambling. So with that, I thank you all for your input. It's been fascinating. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. See you, Sally. See